Hello, everyone, and welcome to the. Oh boy, I just had the folder up. That's the wrong folder. It's like the fourth episode of the SWW Formula One show, Formula S.
hmm
Okay, let's see.
You
One,
think you'd think
two,
by now AJ has
three.
one job when we start these is to get the numbers correctly, which he gets wrong sometimes. I'm Mike,
I
by the
think
way.
it's the fourth. We're recording the fourth.
No, we're quoting on the 8th.
Well, haha, you're funny. No, we're recording the fourth episode. Um, Covering Belgium and Monza, the first of the three Italian races.
Why
Um,
are all races not just in Italy, which is the correct answer?
because the three races that they're having this year in Italy are the three tracks that they could race at.
Okay.
The other tracks don't fit the Grade One status that you need to have if you want to race an F1 race.
hmm
And so actually, that is like Grade One status is a huge deal. Um, Montreal almost lost their race a couple years ago
Hmm.
because they needed to make some upgrades to keep Grade One status. Um, the only track that they run at that isn't Grade One status is Monaco, and that's only because of it being Monaco that they still run there. Yeah, but we've got some news to get into before we get into the races. The Williams F1 team, which has been around since the 70s and owned by Frank Williams, who, um, for anybody that has gotten into F1 recently, he hasn't been that big the past couple, I'd say 3 or 4 years, as Claire, his daughter, has taken more and more of the roles in the team. But Frank is, I want to say, the single winningest person in F1 from the teams
What does
that
that
he
mean?
ran. Um, Williams dominated the 80s and 90s.
I think that's the one name I feel like that everyone knows of F1.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, if you don't know Ferrari
You
or
know Williams.
McLaren, you know Williams.
I almost feel like Williams to me, if you said Williams, people would put it on F1, where the other two people might just think of the cars.
Yeah. Well, if you said name an F1 team, everybody goes Ferrari. If you say name
That's
an F1
true.
team that isn't Ferrari, that's always the fun one because it's like, okay, you can kind of tell when they were watching. Did they watch in the 80s and 90s and a bunch of these smaller teams were around? Are they watching now? Where like Mercedes is dominant? That's always a fun question. But yeah, so Williams officially sold their team to a American investment firm. So this actually makes it so that all of the F1 teams based in the UK are no longer UK owned teams.
Which is so like from a organizational point of view then, do they only care what the team is based, not who owns the team?
I mean, the FIA doesn't care at all. Like
Okay, but I assume
whoever
they
can
mark
own
them
it.
as a like the FIA has to mark be like you are an American team, you're a German. Like they definitely have a marking of sort.
Yeah, it's where your headquarters are. That's all it is.
Interesting.
Like it doesn't matter who owns it because like McLaren is owned by the an arm of the Bahraini government.
hmm
Um, Renault is obviously French. They're based in the UK. Red Bull is Austrian. They're based in the UK. Um, Mercedes is obviously German owned. They're based in the UK. Haas is based in both the US and the UK. I believe they run as an American team though.
hmm
So, yeah, Williams sold to Doralton Capital. It's a
Okay.
U.S. private investment firm. They sold it for $179.5 million,
Hmm.
which is cheap.
I was gonna say, it doesn't seem.
This also marks, I believe, the Williams family getting out of their companies altogether.
What do you mean?
Because okay, so Frank Williams started Williams. So there's the F1 team that everybody knows, but then there's Williams Advanced Engineering, I believe it's called,
Okay.
and they do a lot of work with car companies and companies in general to do like carbon fiber tech, wind tunnel tech. In fact, there is a who made it? There was a car in the 80s or 90s that had Williams branding on it, much like a Shelby Mustang.
Okay, go on, go on. I like the Shelby.
So, well, that's an easy thing to.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, it would be more like if you had a Hennessy Corvette.
Like as
Because,
in the alcohol?
actually, no, I take that back. It is Shelby because they did the deal with um, the manufacturer, which I can't remember who it was. Um, so you could buy it straight from the factory. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Hennessy, you obviously have to send your car down there. But um, yeah, so Williams, and actually the engineering division, advanced engineering is what it's called. Um, that was considerably bigger than the F1 team.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, the Williams family is out of everything now. So,
So like, would you define as the end of an era?
oh, this is absolutely the end of an era.
Hmm.
This is the last privately owned team. I mean, I guess Haas kind of carries that legacy on, being Gene Haas is the one that owns the team. But, you know, Williams has been around for 40 years. Like, this is truly. It's weird to see. Obviously, Williams will live on. The name is apparently going to live on. But the the family's interaction is just gone now with the sport. It was kind of bittersweet to watch the end of the Monza race as Claire was trying to come to grips with the fact that she wasn't going to be, heading a team anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was certainly an interesting thing to see. But I mean, it's also good. Like she made a comment of like she'll finally be able to take her honeymoon. She joked about that, like because it's so much time and energy and effort to run the team that she goes, I'll finally get to celebrate my honeymoon and my kids' birthdays
Hmm.
because she obviously hasn't been able to do that being as busy as she has been. But so yeah, that is certainly an end of an era. This story kind of broke after our last episode was done recording. So F1 effectively banned the qualifying engine modes.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever your engine setting is, that's it. There's no turning boost pressure up all the way for qualifying or anything like that. Um, I'm guessing they thought it was going to help reel in the Mercedes, but clearly hasn't affected it at all. Um, but I mean, teams that were running um, Mercedes and I believe Honda power units were greatly benefited by this by engine modes because they could get an upper hand on the teams around them that were running other power units during qualifying. Um, so Yeah, I mean it's weird because F1 to me has always been like it's the pinnacle of engineering and technology and making a car go fast.
Hmm.
The the past I mean even the late V8 era to now, so 2010, 11 on has been like super like we want to get as much reliability out of it as we can. I mean, if you go back to the V12 era or even the Turbo 4s, um, I mean, cars were blowing engines after qualifying and they were putting a new one in before the race and then blowing it after the race and putting a new one in. And it was pretty crazy. But those cars were, I mean, to put it into perspective, a lot of, until 2017, a lot of lap records were from like the early 2000s.
Hmm.
So the time had really dropped off, and now we're getting it back in crushing times. But yeah, um, I don't know. For teams that were running Ferrari units, apparently there's not much difference. So they really don't care. Um, team though that will be much like how Williams appears to be continuing its name. This team will continue to be the exact same team, just under a different name. Renault is becoming the Alpine, I believe is how they pronounce it, F1 team, which is their
Why?
performance
So, what
division.
is the normal reason to change a name like that, though? Because again, that's another name I feel like I would know independent.
I mean, it's weird. This is going along the lines of like, um, calling it Corvette racing instead of Chevy racing,
Right.
or like, it's a performance. They want to spin it off as a performance brand. It's currently only one car.
Hmm.
Um, and the Alpine name used to be on a lot of Renaults in the 80s and 90s, but it's fallen off, and now they're bringing it back. So, I mean, I guess this would be like if Mercedes just called it AMG F1 instead of their whole Mercedes Benz Petronas AMG, whatever their full name is. Um, I mean, I guess it's brand recognition they're trying to develop, but it's certainly a odd change.
Right.
I mean, Renault's a odd team as it is, but yeah. And they're in the news again as they withdrew their um, appeal against the punishment for Racing Point for the brake duct violation. Um, and in fact, I forgot to add this in here, but Racing Point themselves withdrew their appeal. So they are taking the penalty as was issued by the FIA and
Okay.
Formula One. So Ferrari continues to keep their appeal active. I don't know why. Like Ferrari needs to focus on they need to focus on Racing Point as a competitor, not like quit dealing with the, chicken shit here. Like Ferrari is probably the worst they've been since the early 90s. It's ridiculous for them. Like
Because you
Ferrari
being
should
such
be
a
going for
known name,
wins. What's that?
especially them being such a known name outside of it for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean Ferrari being the one team that's been around effectively since F1's inception, and
Hmm.
them being as bad as they are, it's rough. It's really rough to watch. Something that won't be rough to watch is the Bahrain oval layout. Which so the Bahraini Grand Prix is ran at this incredible motorsports complex. It's got everything there. It's got obviously the F1 track. It's got an endurance layout. It's got a drag strip. It's got everything.
Okay.
So this oval, it's not a true oval. It's not like they're running Indianapolis or Daytona. Um, it's it's just the outer track. So it's the main straight that the F1 race goes down. It's F1 turn one, and then where F1 turn three would be, they go straight. Um, and then they go along, and then there's a couple like S's, and then they come back down the back straight, and then onto the main straight. So, yeah, they're saying sub 60-second laps,
Hmm.
which the fastest lap right now in F1, I believe, is Austria at like a minute 10.
Okay.
Actually, I think Lewis got it down to a minute 9 this year. So this will be considerably faster than that. Um, which makes me wonder if they are going to. Is this going to be like an IndyCar level 90 lap track because the lap times are so short? Um, it could be interesting to watch. I mean, it's certainly going to be fun to watch because that track's awesome, and seeing them run cool uh, layouts is a great way to get around doing these double headers
Mm-hmm.
at tracks. Like, obviously, there's not a lot they could have done at Austria when they did their double header there. Um, and I believe at Silverstone, there's only 3 layouts of that track. It's the main one, and then there's 2 short ones that they could run, but those short runs don't have the facilities needed for F1, so they had to run the outer one twice. Um, but yeah, these these Middle Eastern complexes that have 10 different layouts, um, they can do a lot with, so it'll be fun to watch. Another one that'll be fun to watch is Turkey because Istanbul Park is back on the schedule, marking its return to the F1 calendar since it left in 2011, I believe. So, yeah, that'll be a fun return to a track that obviously hasn't been on the calendar in a while. And Turkey was one of Herman Tilke's first tracks that everybody knew was his. And
Okay.
he's a track designer, so he's the track designer that's done. He did Malaysia, China, Turkey, Korea, Circuit of the Americas, Hanoi, and Vietnam. Obviously, I haven't run there yet, but he's anything that's Abu Dhabi was his, Bahrain was his. So um, he does basically all of the designing for F1, and in fact, he'll go in and do like he'll take old tracks and tweak them. So he kind of works with what they have to make them a little bit different. But a lot of Tilka's tracks reference the Istanbul Park circuit, so it'll be fun to watch the, I guess, granddaddy of Tilka's tracks. And then I believe takes us on to the Belgium Grand Prix at Circuit de Spa de Francorchamps.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have to say that word one more time.
What?
I'm sorry. What you just said? Circa de Fascisha?
Circuit de Spa de Francorchamps.
Can you translate that?
It's the circuit of Spa at, for whatever Francorchamps would translate into English.
Okay.
Um, the longest track in F1. It is 7,004 meters. It has been used as an F1 track since F1 existed. It's had some different layouts and stuff like that, but it's been around forever. The Tour de France has used the track as part of a stage. Um, it's always seen as a lot of drivers love this track because it is so long that there's a lot of flat out just balls to the wall racing at this track. And it's one track that no matter what the cars are, what they're powered by, how much downforce they have, like throughout the years, Spa has always produced good races. Um, and so we'll hop into quali. I've got the so what I've done now is I've taken the official F1 YouTube videos of qualifying and the races and time coded those. So it's not going to be
perfect per se, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not the inside baseball notes that I was taking before. But yeah, it'll give people a reference. Q1 starts and Ferrari's really down on speed. I mean, this is not Belgium and Monza are not tracks you want to be down on speed at. Because
for the record, this is 58 seconds into the video as AJ marked it.
58 seconds in. Spa and Monza, you just need speed. It's pertinent that you have, especially at Spa, it's 7,000 meters long. It's 7 kilometers. You need to be fast. Ferrari in Q1 is only good enough for 13th and 15th. So if Vettel goes out in Q1, Leclerc sneaks on through. But at a minute 42, or no, I guess they both snuck through because they dropped, it's 16. Yeah, so 15 and up go through. So Ferrari makes it by the skin of their teeth into Q2. Leclerc is just down. He's down in the dumps. Goes out in Q2. That's at a minute 42. Almost immediately following that at 2 minutes 6. Vettel just doesn't even finish his last lap because they were that far down.
He's been having a bad season, it feels like.
Oh, he has the messy divorce of Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari has been amazing to watch. Especially as a Vettel fan. Because there have been times where it's like a couple of years ago it was okay, reliability hindered him, and then the car was more reliable, but then it was strategy that was screwing him over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, like, everything was there. The strategy was good, the car was good. Vettel just made some mental errors. And now this year, the car is shit. Ferrari is shit. Strategy is shit. Like, the one thing they had was they were mildly reliable. Which is kind of funny because we'll get to that later, but their reliability has been pretty decent. Their speed just hasn't been there.
Mm-hmm.
4 minutes 12, this I believe was in Q3. It must have been. Hamilton goes basically flat through Pouan. And the entire downhill section of Spa. It's ridiculous. He's a video game player at this point. Like, this is what it would look like if somebody was driving these tracks in F1 2020 with, like, traction control, stability control on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you shouldn't be able to go this fast through these turns. And he makes it just look easy. And at 5 minutes, he goes a 141.2. making him the only car this year that was faster than the Porsche 919 Evo, which that 919 Evo was the car that Porsche built to see like if this car didn't have regulations. This was one of their Le Mans racers.
So this was their test thing to be like, let's see who can convince them.
Well, this car was like, okay, we're taking the fastest Le Mans 24-hour car ever, and we're running it as if there were no regulations. So no downforce limits, no power limits, no fuel limits, no any of those limits. Um, and that car was going out and just obliterating records at every track.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it was faster than F1 cars around Spa until last year. Hamilton broke it in qualifying, but didn't break it in the race. This year, he beat his own time from last year and was the only car in any session faster. So that 919 was just incredibly fast. In fact, there's a YouTube video of it doing some laps around tracks. Just if you get a chance, look it up. It's ridiculous. At 6 minutes 10, Daniel Ricciardo qualifies fourth. His highest qualifying since he left Red Bull. And it's funny because this is probably, I don't know, he might get a little bit better in the next few races, but probably the highest he's ever going to qualify. And then next year he's leaving for McLaren. And he's also had a bit of a messy divorce with Renault, and it's been fun to watch. There's a couple messy divorces this year that are happening that are a little fun. The drama's there. I mean, we didn't have a full season, so we're not going to have reliability drama, so we're having driver market drama.
It's like speeding up the drama.
Yeah. Now we get into the race. Immediately, 2 seconds into the video, the race directors are the ones that control the lights. So the 5 lights, I think it's 6 now, that turn on the red lights at the beginning. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they go out, and that's when they start.
Mm-hmm.
The past couple races, the race directors always change. There's a couple FIA members that are race directors, but then they always have like a guest steward and director in. They have been really quick on the draw with lights out. I think partially because it's been so damn hot in Europe that they don't want these cars effectively melting on the starting grid.
Tell me that would be amazing though. You're like, so his tire is literally on the track?
If you want to see that, go back and watch like mid 80s F1. It was boring. Like, 5 or 6 cars on a 26 car grid just don't start. And it's just boring. It's also super dangerous because if these cars overheat and obviously if they overheat their engines are going to die, whatever. But their brakes and tires are designed to be ran at certain temperatures. If they get too cold, they just don't work.
So
obviously they work, but
enough where it could fuck with shit.
Oh yeah, like super cold, like brakes.
Is this why they won't actually play in the winter ever, like in a winter climate?
I mean, you could do it. You would just have to change up, like, you'd effectively run a full brake duct to try to get, or you could just close your brake ducts if it's super cold, like if you're running in the snow, which Red Bull has run one of their cars up a ski slope. If I was setting up that car, I would close the brake duct to try to keep as much heat as possible in the brakes. But yeah, like if your brakes go too cold, okay, you get down to that first corner and the pads aren't going to grip right. So your braking distance is now 20 meters further. Well, okay, you've just run into the back of somebody and taken at least two, maybe more cars out of the race. So it's super important to get, make sure the temperatures are there. Um, and especially at a track like Spa, like they have the blitz down to the hairpin, which we've seen a couple pretty spectacular crashes at in the past couple of years. But then, I mean, they're not under the brakes until they're up off the Kemmel Straight, the chicane off the Kemmel Straight. Like, it's a distance until they're back on the brakes to get any temperature in them. Which leads us nicely into it. 23 seconds. Watching F1 cars go up Eau Rouge and Raidillon, which is the incline, is just amazing, especially after restarts and at the start of a race when you just get a train of them going up. Cars are now taking that flat out, which is amazing.
Is it?
Yes, because you're at the bottom of a hill. In fact, you're coming downhill into the turn because the hairpin's actually higher than where Eau Rouge is. So you're coming downhill, you get into a turn, you turn left to clip Eau Rouge, and then you're immediately right to go up the hill, and then you have to turn left. It's a blind left up a hill. And if you've ever driven a car fast up a hill, you lose grip on the front
Right.
as the car lifts. In fact, this is the site, Raidillon is the site of Antoine Hubert's tragic death last year. Because it's a blind corner. You have no idea. There could be
I'm surprised
somebody
they don't
literally
have.
sitting in the track.
Do they not have? Maybe this is the thing I should know. F1, they have radios in the car, right? So like they should know that like if something like that's happening.
They do, but I mean, you're going
It's
up
so
that
quick.
hill at 170 miles an hour.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like like you only really like they have to be like in 5,000 feet something's gonna happen. They can't be like in
Yeah,
20
you have
feet
to.
turn left.
Yeah, yeah. There's not a lot of accident prevention, shall we say, in F1,
Hmm.
just because it's too fast. Like, you can obviously, like, if somebody was way behind, you can be like, hey, uh, top of Raidillon, somebody's on the right side of the track. Okay, so you know to hug it left going up. Like, it's things like that, but generally, if somebody's stationary, they would have yellow flags out anyway.
Hmm.
So you know to be cautious. Um, which is the unfortunate reality of why one of the greatest young talents tragically passed away at this track last year. They didn't have yellows.
Hmm.
The accident just happened that fast. Um, at a minute 6, we see Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez go side by side through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Probably something I would recommend nobody ever do.
It's going side by side.
Going side by side through there because really, when you take the left through Raidillon at the top of the hill, you need to be on the curb. Otherwise, you're getting pushed out and you're going in the wall. So maybe this is just hey, these cars just have that much grip that you can do it, but it's still pretty reckless to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And at a minute 47, we see Antonio Giovinazzi go off down towards the bus stop, hits the wall, and in fact, one of his wheels goes loose, which they shouldn't be. They have tethers inside the suspension arms that are supposed to keep the wheels attached. Um, I believe it was his rear left wheel detaches and basically forces George Russell into the wall
Hmm.
because Russell has nowhere to go. He's got Giovinazzi's car coming across the track in front of him, and then Giovinazzi's tire actively pushing him towards the wall. Like, it's bouncing right at him, and if he doesn't go towards the wall, he's going to get clobbered by a tire. Which most people would be like, oh, it's a tire. Like, these things are 50 pounds, and they have a ton of energy behind them. Um, they can be, they'll take your head off. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
it were to hit you in the head, it's taking your head off. Um, Luckily, it's been a very, very long time since that ever happened. And with the halos, it'll probably never happen. I mean, for somebody to get killed by a tire now in these cars would effectively require it jumping the entire car, catching the airbox, and heading straight down. Like, something that would never happen. So, it would, hopefully, we never see a driver die in a race car again. I mean, Hubert's accident was such a freak accident that it's kind of like it's not necessarily accepted, but it's like nothing could have really been done. So it's understood. Like, okay, just it was the perfect storm, and that's why he died. But, um, yeah, not much goes on in the race. We go from a minute 47 to 5 minutes and 43.
I was gonna say that was literally like I'm like that's the entire video.
Pretty much. Hamilton wins, breaking the tie with Michael Schumacher for the most podiums. He does a Black Panther salute, as that was the day that we found out Chadwick Boseman had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Man, you want to talk about emotions at that race? Like, okay, this is the year after Hubert passed away at this track. This is, so emotions are already running a little high, especially for the French drivers
Mm-hmm.
that knew Hubert growing up. Pierre Gasly had a nice little photo tribute. I believe it was on Instagram. Yeah, and then finding out Bozeman died, that I guess it would have been like the middle of the night for them. Because we found out Saturday night.
Hmm.
So that would have been
Yeah, that would have been.
super late Saturday, potentially early Sunday morning.
I was gonna say because time changes.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, Hamilton is now the only record he has left to break is world titles and wins. He will break the wins title this year. He should break the. Well, okay, if he breaks the wins title this year, the wins record this year, he breaks the title record this year.
Okay.
Like, he's got enough of a lead in the championship that, I mean, if he gets, I believe it's 3 more wins to break the record, he would have more than enough of a gap to pretty easily coast to the his seventh or his eighth. I believe it's his seventh title, which would tie him with Schumacher, but that's just an incredible amount. And then we are on to Monza.
Wait. So do you feel it's possible he'll break the record this year?
The wins record, yes. The
Yeah.
title record, he can tie it. He can't break it.
But you think the wins one is very doable?
Yeah. Especially because when we get to Abu Dhabi, if as long as Hamilton qualifies in the top 2, he's going to win that race.
Just he knows that track really well.
Well, it's very much a procession track.
Okay.
Let's see. Bahrain I mean, you got two there that
Are very doable.
the outer ring definitely helps him get one because Mercedes just their incredible speed will help there. So there's 2 wins, so that puts him at 91. So he needs one to tie, two to break it. I mean, as long as he doesn't run into issues like he did at Monza, he breaks the record.
Mhm.
So, but so he gets a Monza qualifying. 11 seconds in, the Monza accordion, as I like to call it, which is everybody bunches up at the start of Parabolica, which is the final turn that leads down to the main straight. Everybody bunches up because everybody wants the toe on the main straight. I can hear people asking, well, what's toe? Okay, so basically, the car in front punches a hole through the air. The car behind them now doesn't have to punch as hard of a hole
Really?
because there's turbulent air.
Right.
It's spun up. So it's already moving. The air's already moving, basically, is what that means.
So it takes less energy, so you want to be the car in
The
second, and you
car,
get past.
yeah, the car in second can go faster.
So he'll eventually pass the car in first, as long
Yep.
as the distance isn't too
Yeah.
much.
Yep. And seeing as how Monza is basically 4 straights combined by a couple turns,
You could get that going really nicely, and then
yeah. Um, in fact, was it last year or 2 years ago? A bunch of cars missed the timer for one of the qualifying sessions because everybody was backing up because they didn't want to be the first one to go.
really,
Yep. It was hilarious.
that punishment though has to be worse than like
Yeah, I
isn't it
mean,
like
like
I'm supposed
the
to also
Mercedes
have
don't really
rules about
need it. Like the Mercs didn't really need the toe, but I mean, like a McLaren could be half a second faster if they had the toe all the way around the circuit,
Hmm.
which is impressive. Um, 38 seconds in, Raikkonen gets just the door slammed in front of his face. I was going to say shut. He gets it slammed in his face by Esteban Ocon, effectively ruining his lap. Because while Monza does have a couple slow turns, you're flat out on this track. So if you have to lift it all, you're screwed. I believe he got reprimanded for it. I can't remember if he just got some penalty points on his license, but there was some. It wasn't huge, but there was some penalty to him for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
A minute 40, Vettel goes out in Q1. They don't have the pace at all. Which, I mean, this is Ferrari's home race. Normally. So for them to be this slow at what is more or less their home track, it's just ridiculous. It did lead us to possibly one of the best video bits from this year, which was Vettel at the camera. He was in a camera stand at the entrance to the Parabolica and commentating on people's entrance to the turn during one of the qualifying sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And so just showcasing his absolute love for the sport. 319, Leclerc goes out in Q2. Ferrari just, man, I don't know. They're just not a top team anymore. 10 seconds later at 329, Magnussen went for an extremely wild ride coming out of the second Lesmo. Yes, there are in fact 2 corners called the Lesmos. Every young kid that finds that out always thinks they're Lesbos, not Lesmos. No, they're just the Lesmos. That's actually like Monza is a very fun track to drive
Mm-hmm.
because it's so much of it is just you need to be full commit. Um, it's just a blast to drive it in anything. Um, I'm really surprised at how well he skipped. Like he was a stone on water going through the gravel trap. His car was just bouncing all over the place. 541. We wrap up qualifying. Sainz qualifies third.
Okay.
Extremely impressive. Also, I can imagine hugely regretting his move to Ferrari.
Really?
Well,
I think it's atrocious now. Yeah.
you're in a McLaren. You qualified third. Ferrari barely qualified in Q2. Like, it's like maybe I got a good thing going here in the papaya rocket.
Mm-hmm.
That leads us into a race. 5 seconds in, we see Ricardo. I guess he decided that whoever the grounds crew is at Monza didn't do a good enough job on the front stretch because he had to go in the grass and mow it down. Goes 2 wheels in the grass to make a pass. Pretty much the ballsiest thing you can do because you effectively lose the grip on that side. So luckily he was doing it down the straight. He didn't really need it, but you also lose speed. Like grip goes for both the front and rear. So if your rear tires don't have grip, they're not producing speed. But Daniel Ricciardo was on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always fun to watch him when he's on a mission. 35 seconds in, Bottas is swallowed up by Lando Norris, meaning McLaren runs 2-3, which, goddamn, who would have thought? A minute 13 in, Vettel's Ferrari woes continue when he grenades a rotor in his brakes and loses all brakes. And he just cannot catch a break, I'll tell you what. So obviously he limps around the track. Their one saving grace in these cars that if they were to lose their conventional brakes, so the brakes on four corners, they can use the electric motors to kind of slow them down.
But that can't be enough?
Well, I mean, if you coast, like
Mm-hmm.
if he got enough speed going into Parabolica and then just switched on his energy harvest, it would slow him down, and he'd probably get down to pit lane speed.
Probably.
But
You sound very hesitant on that one.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't know. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
aggressive their harvest is. Like when they're not on the throttle as well, you never see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I don't know. The FIA, like if he was only 5 to 10 kilometers over the pit limit, they probably wouldn't hurt him. They wouldn't come down on him too hard because he just doesn't have brakes.
Mm-hmm.
But he did have his front brakes. The way he was saying it sounded like he snapped the line. Like the brake line to his rear rotors just exploded. Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Magnussen has some issues, so at a minute 30, Magnussen very politely pulls off by a Marshall stand, but it's the Marshall stand right in front of the pit entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So you come off Parabolica, there's a Marshall stand that looks into pit entrance. Well, okay, that's great, but now you have to wonder, is pit lane going to close?
Mm.
Because depending on where they push the car, like obviously you're there, you're at pit lane, you may as well just push the car into pit lane to retire it. which I still don't understand why they didn't just have a truck come down pit lane and pull him, but they pushed it.
Yeah,
Um,
because which would be quicker though.
yeah.
I guess a truck, they should a truck and block a lot more stuff.
Well, but if you're closing the pit lane anyway, like you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be under either a virtual safety car or, like they did here, a full safety car. Um, everybody's going to be
How
slowing
long do
down
you think it
anyway.
is until all of the engines can be remote controlled enough where when there's like instead of a safety happening, they could just slow down all the cars?
Um, they could probably do it right now.
I was gonna say, 'cause I feel like technology we should have, especially in circumstances like that, where you need them to slow down immediately.
Yeah.
All you do is remote activate like a thing to control speed.
Yeah, I mean, they have a button on their steering wheel for safety car speed limit.
So I'm surprised you can remote activate that button.
The other thing you have to think about though, like if you're a driver coming down the main straight and the accident happens behind you,
Hmm.
and without warning they hit that button,
Oh yeah, I would count down or something. Like I'd make sure it's not like a tap, like some level of like lights flickering or something.
or have it automatically activate once they get below the limit.
Hmm.
Like if they go into a corner and they slow down below the limit, then it just kicks on. So you're not like, surprising these guys with it. Anyway, before they had moved Kevin's car, the safety car comes out, and when the safety car comes out in Formula One, the pit lane closes.
Hmm.
No ifs, ands, or buts. The pit lane closes. Hamilton and Giovinazzi pitted before. It was weird. So it was before the safety car was deployed, but it was after the pit lane had closed.
Hmm.
So the yellow flags go up and the pit lane closes. The safety car wasn't deployed yet. So Hamilton goes into the pits while the pit lane's closed. And what they were saying on the broadcast was they were looking through the feed, and when they got the notification for safety car deploy, was when the pit lane closed thing came through as well. So that's the feed that like all the engineers and strategists have. Um, so I don't know why they still went into the pits, but they did. Um, Hamilton seems to have figured out that they messed up because he's on the radio like, guys, was the pit lane closed? Was the pit lane closed? And then you just hear his engineer, yeah, it was.
Hmm.
Like, are we gonna get a penalty? So
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting to see. Um, at 2:05, the pit lane opens up, and we just get a mad dash of people going into the pits. Teams double stacking, so pitting both cars at once, one after another. Not like they don't have two pit crews. It's one that comes through, then the other comes through. Um, Lando Norris was given the hey, we need to build a gap, and slams on the brakes right before the pit lane speed limit line is, and just roasts the front tires, which he doesn't need them anymore, but it was pretty funny to see. Um, at 2 minutes and 45, we get probably one of the craziest crashes I've ever seen.
Hmm.
And a crash that would have, if it would have happened 30 years ago, would have required at the bare minimum an ambulance, potentially the coroner. Charles Leclerc goes off at Parabolica and just nosedives into the barrier. I guess Sainz crash in Russia in 2014 or 15 may have been worse. But this one was just incredible. So much energy that the car was that it had and just for it to go to zero. And he just immediately popped out, had his seatbelt off, popped out, ran to the pit lane like nothing happened. I truly believe though that the halo saved him here because, among other things, we've seen the safety in these cars just produce such a rate that is able to walk away from this crash. The halo prevented the tire barrier from coming in to the cockpit.
And that's why you have it.
Yes, that's yeah.
That's a pretty good reason why.
Yeah, it's there have been a Leclerc's had a couple of run-ins with why the halo has is a good idea. He had when he was at Alfa Romeo Sauber, I forget who it was. I think it was one of the McLarens. Go up and over him at Spa, and the car scraped the halo, and in fact, you could see a very clear, like, the mark from the car on the halo, where the car would have gone through the cockpit, basically. And then this crash, he's got to be one of the big proponents for keeping the halo around. This crash leads to a red flag, and I believe it was during the red flag period where we got the confirmation that Hamilton would be issued a 10-second stop-go penalty.
Explain to everyone what that is in case there's some confusion of people.
Okay, so
No, go on.
a stop-go penalty is you have to come into the pits, so that's already bad enough because that's a minimum 20 seconds where you're driving in the pits.
Right.
You have to come into the pits, stop in your pit box, and it's run by your team, the time, however long it is, and then you can go.
So you have to do that you have to sit there for 10 seconds, basically.
Yep. You have to stay stationary for 10 seconds. Now, the thing of it is, you can serve a stop-go and also
As a pit stop?
and also run a pit stop, but you have to serve your stop-go before they can start working on the car.
Oh.
So if you have a 5-second
cheat it.
stop-go, yeah, you have a 5-second stop-go, which they will issue from time to time, and you come in and you're like, well, screw it, may as well change the tires, here's the reason kind of why they didn't do a lot for his penalty. Under red flag conditions, you can change your tires. So he didn't need to change his tires for the pit stop, which, if he needed to serve a pit stop as well, I mean, that makes it a 14, 15-second penalty. But so you have to serve your penalty within 3 laps of you getting it. And for Lewis, this is 3 laps after a restart. So he doesn't have the luxury of being out front for 20 laps, building up his substantial lead, and then serving this penalty. He has to serve this right away when everybody is packed up. So he's going to the back. And any penalty is bad. A penalty at Monza is incredible because you're going to get smoked if there's a couple guys, running a train is a weird phrase to use, but is applicable here. Running a train down through Ascari Chicane and then through Parabolica, you're going to get passed by 3 or 4 guys. And then so now you have to go and catch them and make it up. And yeah, it's bad. It's a bad time to get a penalty. 505, Verstappen has to retire the car due to mechanical issues. I can't remember if they played his uh, audio on air, but I listened to it. Somebody recorded it and posted
Hmm.
it, and he goes off
Does
on
he
his
really?
engineer. Like he's uh, like, why do we have to retire the car? Like it can still run. Like the car feels fine. Like we don't have to do this. Like why are you making me do this? He's going off and
Hmm.
off on him.
Hmm.
Um, which I mean, obviously, no driver wants to
Obviously.
leave the race, so I get it. Um, through all this craziness, though, at 6 minutes 40, Pierre Gasly wins. Carlos Sainz gets second. Lance Stroll gets third. AlphaTauri, which used to be Toro Rosso, gets their second win at the same track where they got their first. Sebastian Vettel got their first win. And in fact, I
Wait, they
want to say,
didn't win it that long?
yeah, because they're Red Bull's junior
Jesus.
team. So, like,
Yeah, yeah.
they're obviously they were never going to be top tier contenders. I want to say Vettel won in a Toro Rosso before the Red Bull team won.
Hmm.
So it was just funny to see the junior team beat the big boys. Also, this is vindication for Pierre Gasly because he last year Monza's race was the first race in the Toro Rosso after being kicked out of Red Bull.
Hmm.
So it was kind of a middle finger to Red Bull. Um, but yeah, just the emotions were great on that podium. Excuse me, Carlos was a little pissed that he didn't get the win, but it is what it is. Lance Stroll is just a happy Canadian. Um, yeah, that wraps up the uh, the two races. We have a race this weekend as we're recording this. I want to say it's one of the other Italy ones. I have kind of lost track of the schedule. Let's see. It is the San Piero race. Which track is that? I don't know. Let me see.
You're like, I don't know. It's a race. They go around the track.
Tuscany. Is that Turkish, Portuguese? So okay, this is either Imola or Fiorano. Not sure which one.
Is it just confusing the schedule?
Well, the schedule's these are also races that we've never had before, and they're calling them by
Right.
different names. So like, um, Tuscany. This has got to be Fiorano. Oh, it's Mugello. Okay, so this is Mugello. They're running Mugello and yeah. So these are tracks never I've never even driven on them in like simulators. So I have no idea about these tracks, but yeah.
It's good.
Um, oh, apparently, let's see. It's been 8,442 days between wins for fashion brands in F1. Benetton won the '97 German Grand Prix, and then AlphaTauri won the 2020 Italian Grand Prix.
Hmm.
Or you know, yeah. So we have a new race to look forward to at the Autodromo Internazionale di Mugello. It's looking to be a hot day on race day, 94 degrees Fahrenheit, clear sky. That's gonna be a toasty track.
Wait, 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now in Denver, it's like 30.
Yeah, I know. I saw
Just fucking.
the
I guess the
forecast
time
for
capital
Denver this week was just ridiculous.
dropped 60 degrees in one day.
Well, you're in Minnesota. I think has the highest, or maybe it was North Dakota. One of those states has the record for the highest swing. It's like 100 degrees.
I don't know. There were some days last year, even like Chicago did that.
Yeah. So yeah, got some new tracks to look forward to.
Nice. So how are you feeling? So are we now like halfway through the season, a third through the
Yeah,
season?
about halfway through the season.
So how you feeling of this short, weird COVID-19 season?
Uh,
You don't sound excited.
well, I mean, it's just okay. There have been one, two, three, four people to win a race, and we have raced 8 races.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of boring. Like, I'm looking at the podiums, like, okay, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So there's been 8 like unique podium finishers so far. And there's
Mm-hmm.
8, 16, 24 spots. So a third has been unique.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't help that, like, okay, Austria, we could see Mercedes winning from the get go. That's a power track. Hungary is a procession track. Uh, Great Britain, obviously, there was some drama there with the tires. Spain is a procession track. Belgium is kind of a procession track because it's so long. You
Mm-hmm.
just end up following the guy in front of you. And then obviously the chaos that was Italy. So it's fun to have these chaotic races. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Doesn't sound super exciting, but I'm trying to think. So yeah, so then we do that. Yeah. Maybe do you think next year it will be back to normal season, or do you think it'll be
Oh, I hope some of these tracks that are getting reintroduced come onto the schedule for next year, but I just don't see, like, okay, you're gonna have to bring on Vietnam and the Dutch Grand Prix as well.
right?
So, and then you've also got to run uh, Canada, U.S., Brazil, Japan, China.
No,
Um,
China. Get it right.
that's at least 5
Mm-hmm.
plus the 2 new tracks. So that's 7 races there. And then you've got the rest of the schedule. Like,
It would just be so much.
it would be so much to introduce another track. Like, I really hope we kind of get a rotating. Like, they used to have the European Grand Prix,
Right.
and that would rotate between different countries. And that actually had some great racing. Like, they ran on the streets of, I believe it was Barcelona. They ran a street circuit. One year they had both of the races in Germany. They had the German Grand Prix and the European Grand Prix. So like if they can kind of revive the European Grand Prix and just have it as a rotating thing, but the problem is it's so expensive to hold a F1 race
Mm-hmm.
that can these tracks handle it? Like, I don't know. That's the big question. So,
Well, and that is a question we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
yeah,
So yeah, these were the next 2 races.
the past 2 races. Well, not even because when this episode goes live, Mugello will probably have happened. So,
That's true. So these are the 2 races we're analyzing this time for the F1 show, whatever AJ gives it the official title.
LS, I believe, is the title that I came up with.
That's true. Format S. Remember, you can find this show or some variation of a show every single Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW or any podcast service of your choice. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney on Twitter. You can follow AJ at AJ_Losi. We keep it streamed. We keep a theme. Can I speak? or you catch the SWW show at the SWW show. I believe that is all we have for you this time. When you're hearing this one, the next episode you guys will be hearing is a movie club, so make sure you please watch your Tenet and whatever we said the other thing was respectively, which is the Memento. But yeah, I think that's everything I have for people. AJ, if you have anything else, otherwise say goodnight.
I am saying goodnight, and it's actually good night because we're recording this at night.
Like the old days.
This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you could use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at the SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeatBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.